keeps us separated. Tell me what you think about equal rights for all in every way. Say what you think, what you think, what you think, what you think about justice. What you know, what you know, what you know, what you know about love. Why all the segregation? We all are but one nation. Oh, let us unite as one. Let us unite as one.
Good morning, radio listeners, and welcome to Policing with You. I am your host, Inspector Shauna Francis Edwards, and with me I have a guest from the Ministry of Agriculture, Miss Denisha Huggins. Good morning again. This morning our topic will be dog attack on livestock. We know that this is a very, very important topic, especially to farmers who owns livestock and has been put in a position where their livestock is being attacked or killed by dogs. And we will welcome you when you call in, and we will provide answers where we can. All right, so we will have a packed set of questions, and at any point in time, if you call in and you are not able to get us, please, you can call again, and we will have a very good rapport on this session this morning. Miss Huggins.
Good morning.
Could you tell me how long have you been in this Ministry of Agriculture, and what have you been doing in terms of your job?
Okay, I started working at the department in 2018 after completing my studies in Guyana. Initially, when I began, I was attached to the veterinary unit.
Okay.
So I worked closely as the vet assistant with Dr. Lezoy Pesa Henry.
Yes.
And in 2019, I was transferred to the abattoir as the antemortem inspector. There, I would inspect the animals before they're slaughtered to ensure that they're good and wholesome for human consumption. And in 2021, I was reassigned at the department as the livestock extension officer with responsibility to small ruminants.
So you have quite a bit of knowledge in this area where livestock is concerned.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
I guess the farmers will be happy to hear from you.
Usually they are, yes.
Okay, right. On average, about how many complaints per month do the Ministry of Agriculture get from farmers in reference to their livestock being attacked by dogs?
In January, well, we report quarterly.
Okay.
So from what I can recall, in the first quarter of this year, I got at least 10 reports, and those are attacks that those are from farmers who I'm familiar with. So you have farmers who are frustrated with the situation and wouldn't report it, but those 10, from what I can recall, were those who I interact with, and 2 of those would have had repeated attacks.
Wow.
So it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
Yes, I can imagine.
But I know it's more. I know if I had to get the reports from everybody who would have had an attack, it would be more than that.
Much more than 10.
Yeah, it would be much more.
I understand.
Yes.
And in these attacks, you're saying like multiple animals are being killed or mutilated?
In total, I think it was 61 animals lost.
Wow.
Yeah, because like I said, 2 of the farmers had 2 attacks.
Repeated attacks.
Yeah, repeated attacks. So
and that could cut in on their income.
And production as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So
okay. I know that we are dealing with dog attacks, but just to bring out something else, we know that there are other animals that trample farmers' produce and those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you get reports of those as well?
Well, the crop division
Yes.
would get the report on those. I would only get for livestock. So
okay.
But we have a feral unit at the department that deals with, well, some control of wild pigs,
Yes.
especially wild pigs and monkeys.
And monkeys.
Yeah.
So which means I should start to get that person on the show as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Okay. Right. What are the procedures that the farmers? What are the procedures for the farmers to take if they see the dogs attacking their livestock?
Use wisdom. I think most importantly, because there are a number of factors to be considered. One, you have to consider where you are when this attack is occurring, because I've had reports where farmers are in the mountain and there was one case where a guy saw a young man putting a pit bull on his calf.
Wow.
But he's in the mountain. What are you going to do? It's just you and him with a pit
With
bull.
the people.
Use wisdom, in my opinion. Use wisdom.
Yes.
As much as possible. Try and get evidence. We have technology. Use your phone. You take pictures.
And videotape.
Yes. But in terms of approach, because his view at that time was, if I had gone, he might have put the dog on me.
True.
We've had some cases over the years of people losing their lives in the mountain over disputes.
Yes.
Land dispute, different disputes. So my advice to farmers is to use wisdom, but at the same time try and capture as much as you can and make a report.
Yes.
I always they're not for it because they feel that nobody's paying attention, they're not getting the kind of support that they need. But I always feel like even if you feel that way, still make the report, because then you would have the evidence. You will have the evidence that yes, I've been making reports, and you know, at some point something
documentation.
Documentation is important. And call the department, because I ask farmers all the time to call so I can register the attacks.
Yes.
So we can see the frequency, if there's a particular season where they're more frequent than some.
Right.
So we could kind of see.
And then you form a pattern from what is happening.
Yeah, and see
and maybe
how
you
we
can
actually
provide
something.
farmers with some different advice and that kind of thing too.
But over the years they've been very frustrated, so I understand, but while I understand, I still try to encourage them to, call me.
Well, I know that in my little area in St. Kitts, District B, I'm responsible for Oldwood and Sandy Point districts, and I would have taken the time to put together the number of dog attacks, whether it's on people, on animals, or otherwise, which I will share later on.
Yes, I would appreciate that.
Yes, and I know some of those farmers, they are frustrated as well, and when they call the police, we would respond. Sometimes we get there in time and we are able maybe to put down the dogs as well and see the damage to the livestock and all of that. So I could imagine how some of those persons feel when it appears if nothing is being done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
I can imagine that. Okay. In terms of compensation for the farmers, what experience, what goes with that?
The onus is upon the animal, the owner
of the dog.
The dog.
Right.
I've had cases where lawyers got involved because the farmers took the necessary measures. And now I've also had the case where there was no compensation because, in St. Kitts, the animal doesn't belong to anybody once it does some
once
kind
it does
of
harm.
damage.
Yes.
So
yes.
the most often farmers are not compensated. there's some who are very determined and they would go and seek legal advice and,
Yes.
and in those cases they are. And there's some owners who are honest enough to say, yes, it's my dog. Let me give you back an animal, because I had a farmer in Sandy Point, and he was able, the owner of the dogs gave him back the 4 animals that he lost.
That's good.
So, but in most cases, there isn't
There's
any
no compensation.
No.
Okay. With reference to the meat from these livestock, can they be consumed?
Yes, they can be consumed. One of the concerns for most persons is rabies.
Right.
But we are rabies free in St.
In
Kitts.
St. Kitts. Oh.
Any animal that enters St. Kitts has to do rabies titers, so we ensure that is secured. More usually when a dog attacks an animal and we go and assess the animal,
Yes.
depending on where the attack occurred, where the injuries are,
Yes.
we can determine if it's wise to treat the animal. If, as you know, if it hits a major artery or organ, then the probability of that animal surviving is reduced
Yes.
significantly. So we would encourage farmers to take the animal to the abattoir where we do emergency slaughter, but we usually advise them to consume instead of selling it. Most of the time the farmer uses it for their own
benefit.
purpose,
Yes. Okay. Just wanted to make sure, because I know sometimes people will say, well, you can't eat that, or I can't eat that because I don't know if the dog is sick.
No,
that kind of.
No, normally the only concern would be rabies, and that we know we are rabies.
You're rabies free.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes.
These dogs, why you think they attack the animals, the livestock?
You're in law enforcement.
Apart from what you would have explained earlier in one instance where somebody actually take the dog and set it on the animal.
I think a lot of education has to be done in terms of pet ownership. I've had experiences where persons who said to me, I had this dog and I can't control it anymore. Everything I do, it just jump over the fence, and they go and they dump it, which is very provoking for me, because then
Yes.
a dog, the gestation period for a dog is 63 days, give or take 2 days. If you're gonna dump a dog, that dog is gonna meet another dog, and nature is gonna take its course.
Yes.
So you have the multiplication of animals, wild animals out there, that increases the possibilities or probabilities of attacks occurring.
Yes.
So you have that, and poor pet owners,
Yes.
poor education, lack of education in terms of pet owners. You have persons who, you're in the law enforcement, we have a dog fighting goes on in St. Kitts. So
Yes.
farmers have complained about persons training their dogs. One farmer called me one time, he met 2 guys behind his pen with dogs, with some big chain, pulling some big iron. And then 2 days later, 5 of his goats were dead. So you have people who are doing that. Dogs have to eat, so the wild ones, they have to eat.
Yes.
So they're gonna attack. I think most of it comes from the need to eat. They're hungry.
And they're not being fed
they're
because
not
they don't
being
have
fed.
owners.
And those who are training them, they get a taste for blood. So from they get the taste for blood,
That's it.
that's it. Some is for fun, because especially the lambs and the kids, they see them. I don't necessarily think all of them are vicious attacks in terms
Right.
of, but then they see it as a smaller animal running away, and they go and
they go on.
yeah. So there are different reasons, but I think a lot of it comes from animals being abandoned by owners who don't have any use for them anymore, and instead of disposing them in a proper way, there are people you can contact.
Yes, and I know Ross University sometimes takes a lot of dogs in.
There's BAC, which is an affiliate to
Bastia, yes, rescue.
And there's you can ask a question, call the department, ask a question, do you know of anybody
who wants a dog?
Or call me. I could find somebody too. But I try to assist somebody than somebody dumping a dog somewhere, because that creates a population of wild dogs out there.
And more attacks again.
More attacks. Yes. And they're affecting my goal, because my goal is to increase meat production in the small rumen area.
Right.
But if you have dogs attacking the animals, then it makes my job a little harder.
More difficult. Yeah. I understand. Okay, we'll take a break here, GQ, and then we'll come back with the other half of Policing with You. Remember that you can call in, or you can send your WhatsApp messages through our media platform, and we will answer your questions. Thank you.
Tell me what you think about Marcus.
It's time that we realize that we must work together to thrive.
As we know it, the sky and below it. Could I never have more wonder? Yeah, with life and all you see, and the climate's changing.
But hope is remaining.
And we can't ignore the future. It depends on you and me. One chance, all that we got. One voice, together we stand. Take care, the world where we live. Permite a todos vivir. Tomamos la oportunidad para cortar la humanidad. And I must leave no one behind, because we are one climate, one Caribbean.
This message is brought to you by the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center under the EU GCCA Plus project, funded by the European Union.
Looking for the best price on your third-party insurance? Well, look no more. The Insurance Company of the West Indies, ICWI, has the best protection at the best price with no deductible. Only at ICWI, third-party plus insurance features benefits include windscreen cover and accident forgiveness. What are you waiting for? Click now, icwi.com, or call 465-8753. Visit us today at 1 Seabird Rock in Bastille or Heritage Plaza, Main Street, Charlestown, Nevis.
Right, good morning again, and welcome to Policing with You. I have here in the studio with me Ms. Denisha Huggins from the Ministry of Agriculture, and we are dealing with the topic dog attacks. We would have covered some information with regards to farmers, what could be done in terms of getting compensation, why the dogs attack the livestock, what should the farmer do if he see that the dog is attacking his livestock, and those things. So we will continue. Good morning, caller.
Hello, Inspector Edwards. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling you from the United States, but I was born in the Federation of St.
Thank you.
Ever since I was a little boy, I always been chased by stray dogs. But when I go home to visit my mother lived up on Market Street, and I will walk home from down the bay going home, and I always get chased by stray dogs. All these years, it is a law in St. Kitts that they could put in place to capture the stray dogs and euthanize them, like they do in the United States, if nobody would claim them.
We do have limited capacity in terms of that. We have the BARC, which is Bastille Animal Rescue. They do some of that along with Ross University, but it's not they do not capture all. I think it's too many.
But it is too many because at night when I go home to my mom's house, I gotta take a cab. I can't walk up Market Street. They attack me. And they call it don't know me.
Sometimes the
That's my
dogs,
question.
Carla, sometimes the dogs have owners, you know, but you know, when dogs do damage, when animals do damage, all of a sudden they don't have any owners. So sometimes it's not a matter that all of them are strays.
They don't want to be liable.
Right. Right.
Okay, Inspector.
Thank you for your contribution, caller.
Thank you.
Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, officer.
Yes, please.
Okay, let me start here with the first thing about dogs. All dogs supposed to be licensed. And once the dog is licensed, and that dog happen to go out and eat anybody, animal, or bite anybody, and the dog suddenly do not have an owner now, you can trace back who that dog belongs to by going in the license record and see who came to license that dog. That's number one. And dogs, anything that moves, dog chase after it. If you have a ball and you have your dog going to throw the ball, the dog going after it. And especially animals, they know that animals have blood and meat, and that is what they want. And too many dogs are stray. Dogs supposed to be, if you're going to walk a dog in the public, it's supposed to be on a leash.
That is true.
And it's supposed to have a muzzle cover its mouth. And when he leg anything behind here on the ground, you're supposed to scoop up that.
Yes. True.
Now, the guy just called and talk about America. Well, America and all the American territories, there is a law that your dog must not be found walking on the street without it on a leash. Otherwise, they know where they're going to put it. Once ago, we had that policy here under the leadership of Mr. Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw. There was a man called Bouncing Willie. I don't know how he captured dog that doesn't belong to him, but sometimes you see him pulling out like 4 dogs in the street, and they pull him back and he pull in. And you know where he was going with them? To the dog pound. All of that there vanish, and it need to come back. Because dog, if a dog run after a little child, the child will run, you know.
That is true.
And the child, when you reach the road, the child not going to study well whether suppose a car coming or he can't run, he running from the dog, and there goes the child running into a car and get killed. So all those who got dogs, some of them just got them just to say they got a bad dog to fight. The government need to have the law enforced. Dogs must be controlled. Otherwise, the victim will control the dog for them and they ain't gonna like it. I'll continue to listen. Great show, as usual. Thank you.
Thanks. I agree with a lot of things that you would have said, Carla, but it's a community approach. It's not just one entity enforcing. It's a collaboration between the dog owner and the authorities, the licensing authority, the police. Everybody have to get involved. The vet, because there's a microchip, I think, that should be put in the dog. Right, and it will trace it to its owner. So there's a lot of things involved, and it's a collaborative effort, not just on one part. Right. Good morning. Oh, we lost that caller. Feel free to call.
Hello, yeah, good morning.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
Good program, but some people don't let the dogs them in the night, and some people who got the dogs and give them the lot of relish, the lot of meat. With the blood, the dog and the jump the fence and come go look after other people animals. And even the foul them and all, they gonna kill them and then they're gonna own her.
Thank you, caller.
Okay.
Thanks for your contribution. Right. Okay, we heard. Good morning. Welcome to Policing with You.
Inspector fucking Park, my good friend.
Good morning.
The lady you were talking about, the harass from these dogs, pit bull and others, where people in the mountain go up there and they chain these dogs with weight. That is true. That's a fact. Shano, I want you to outline to the lady, you know, that dog harassing people in the mountain is criminal and you could be charged. And the police force got to look at that because it's a serious problem. Dog running farmers from going to the ground in the mountain. I don't understand what's going on in St. Kitts, you know. We got a serious breakdown. But anyway, Shano, good morning, Jenks. I hear you, but I was so busy. Shano, I watched something down Port Zante yesterday. You understand? While the cruise ship was in, and I warning the chief of police, right, that we could do better than this. We cannot got lines down the port, embarrassing St. Kitts and embarrassing what we're trying to put out there as a cruise ship destination. It's terrible. The guy is not smelling good. When the person come out the boat and buy the bar, and enforcement down there not doing nothing. The only person who not doing it is Rose, and the fat junior police officer from Sandy Point, you know. We ain't going to tolerate that, you know. And I want the chief of police to come down there and see the guy. Because I'm disappointed in Henry. All these things should have done sex. Because many times people talk to Henry about it. We cannot take the kind of embarrassment and the vagabond set of people who are in tourism. Because they mean well.
Mr. Myers.
They mean well.
Mr. Myers.
Ghana, that's me, you know, very straight, eh? Have a good day.
Thank you for your contribution. As I said earlier, once the report is made to the police station in whatever district, the police responds. Okay, it's not that the police do not respond, but persons have to report it. If they don't report it, we will not know. Right. Licensing seemed to be an issue, as you would have heard the callers calling. With reference to the licensing of these dogs, who is the responsible agency?
The Department of Agriculture.
All right. So, and there's a process.
Yes.
Right. Could you outline the process to us?
Well, you come and there's an application that you have to fill out.
Yes.
And after the money, you would pay the fees, the $25. Depend, because they have different categories. You have intact dog, you have dogs that are not intact, altered dogs. Those are dogs that are castrated or, well, not castrated, but spayed
or neutered. Yes.
So they cannot reproduce, and you have those that are not. So I think they're different fees. But there's an application form, you come and you fill it out, and then you pay the monies, and a certificate is issued.
Okay.
Yes.
And does that involve implanting the microchip as well?
Yes, that involves implanting the microchip. And these things are in place, but like we said earlier, because persons don't want to be held responsible
for their dogs.
Yeah, we have people who come and license their dogs, but it's not what we would like it to be. So, just as in any
right. So, yes. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, pleasant good morning. Thank the program.
Could you speak up a little?
Yeah.
Right, that's better.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, timely program. Yeah, sometimes I go to do exercise, right? And I attack my dogs. Dogs come out of yards and so on and stray dog on the road. Sometimes I see people going and exercise and they're walking with stick. You see, they have to walk with stick to ward off dogs. So it's a serious problem, and you need to look into it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, caller, for your contribution. That has been reported a number of times, and as I said, once the police get the report, the police respond. Now, sometimes when the police get there, as long as the person has already gone, you're not seeing any dogs. You go and you check in the yards and you're not seeing any dogs. So sometimes maybe the dog doesn't really belong in that area, and it belongs to somewhere else or someone else. And sometimes the difficulty is that once the dog does not have a leash, I mean, you can't really find the dog. It's kind of difficult at times for us.
But there's some cases as well where because in the Birdwalk area, I've had reports where their dogs in the yard, but because the fencing isn't adequate, the dog is able to jump over
the fence,
or how the dog is behaving is quite threatening to pass by, people passing by in the area, and those are things too that ought to be looked at. We need to reinforce our fencing, to ensure that
dog owners,
dog owners are secured.
Yes, caller, good morning, you're on.
Yes, I call back here again. You know, some of these people who own these dogs, they cannot afford to feed the dog. So they depend on hooting them on animals, innocent animals, to kill them so that they could get food. I know another man had a dog, and he was so poor that he could hardly feed himself no more in dog. Whenever he chewed on bone, the dog just watch it and turn his face another way. Because nothing was in that for he to eat. And one day, he happened to cook rice and sardine. And the dog sit down in front of he, because he was sitting on in front of the door with the foot on the step, eating out of the bowl. And the dog there stamping the front foot. Oh, he hungry and he won't give it none. And when the dog hear him scraping the bowl to the bottom, the dog tell himself, well, everything done, I ain't going to eat. The dog, you know what the dog do? The dog say, give me peace, you know.
Thanks for the humor.
So therefore, and you know, there is something called animal rights.
Yes. Animal cruelty.
Right, exactly. No, there was a law when I was a little boy. And a man from Buckley's, the name Mr. Campbell Evelyn, he dead. He was my mother boss on the estate. And Mr. Bowitt, those two were animal police. If they see a dog fight up the road, and any one of those dogs were fighting, you standing around as the owner, they summons you. Cruelty to animal, and then they take the dog from you, and they carry it where they're supposed to carry it. So all those kind of laws, they need to be, reinstated. Control the country. Our country not supposed to be, when you're walking, going, so you imagine you beg somebody a road, they see you standing up to going tongue, and they stop to give a road, and you're running going. And you're running going to get in the car, and when you walk in dog mess, you can't go in people gear with that on your shoes. Now if the dog was on the proper leash by the owner would have seen when the dog do that and scoop it up. But the dog them wilder than the hurricane wind while it's blowing. And control need to be done with that. And when they run across your vehicle and cause your vehicle the damage, they ain't gonna own, you know.
That's what we were saying earlier.
Yeah. And that is terrible.
Yes.
Terrible. And if you follow your dog, if you're able to follow it and it lives close by, it's going home in the yard where you belong.
Yes.
But if you live Southeast Peninsula and you go all the way down Sandy Point and go look Mother Nature, you can't follow it on foot.
Yes.
So you're all doing a good job. Keep it up.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Yeah, let those who in charge, let us see well then that people are serious about these problems we got in the country.
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
All right, sir.
Okay.
Right, yes, we were talking about the licensing fees and you were mentioning intact dogs. So permit me to read something from the... Right. We have the Dog Licensing and Control Act, Chapter 23.09 of the revised edition of the Laws of St. Christopher, 2017. The first schedule mentioned licensing fees, and it make reference to licensing of intact dogs, $25. Licensing for altered dogs, $15. That's the dog that has been neutered or spaded. Licensing for intact dangerous dogs, we're going to jump to that, $100. Licensing fee for altered dangerous dogs, $50. And licensing fee to operate a kennel. Now this has been a problem too, because people have a lot of dogs. And some of them, they breed them, you know, for selling. Right, to other people. Right, so those are the licensing fees. Now according... We have a caller? Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning. Good program. Just a quick question. What
your tone is a little low. Could you speak up?
Can you hear me properly?
Yes, please.
Good. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
What technique would you give to farmers to help to chop dogs and pigs from getting in your farm? Coming from the agriculture department, there must be some technique that they have because you're there, so which means that they're complaining, you're calling. So that's all I'm trying to wonder.
Your question is, what can the farmers do to protect their livestock from these dogs?
Yeah, well, if the department itself have any technique as what to use, whether dig a trench, put a lock of wire, like, what are the best techniques that a farmer can use?
What adequate measures a farmer can use?
To protect their animals?
Yes. Fencing and so.
No, to protect the farm.
To protect the farm?
Yeah. From wild pigs.
From wild pigs?
Yeah, and also dogs. But dogs do come in on the farm. Because remember, farmers have dogs on their farm.
Yes.
And they're outside dogs that go to the farm to fight these dogs or to eat these dogs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Friends, in terms of protecting their crops, I think fencing, but that sounds good in theory.
Yes.
But we know some of the acreages that farmers would harvest and cultivate. Outside of the fencing, that is why the feral unit was introduced, because that is just the only measure. That is one of the measures that we utilize because we know of the vast land that farmers are using, and fencing those is somewhat impossible or difficult.
Expensive too.
Expensive, yes. So that is the only technique that we employ at the department. In terms of the farmer himself, it would require some work on his part in terms of going at a certain time and maybe providing. We at the department, there's also a trap. There's a trap, well, monkey traps. I'm not too certain if they do for pigs as well, but they're traps that are given to farmers. There's a program attached to the feral unit where traps are given to farmers to try to alleviate some of that problem. So I don't know if farmers would be willing to do the same thing and make traps or get some system from the department. But outside of those two, they would have to do their own canvassing of the areas and employing their own methods or techniques.
Well, I can add a little to that in terms of, I would have seen where persons would have called and say there are wild pigs damaging their crops, and the police would respond, and sometimes we do catch the animals and sometimes we don't. So it's not easy to protect your crops from animal damage if you don't have the appropriate fencing and all those kind of stuff. We know that fencing is expensive, and even when you put up your fence, those pigs still find a way of getting in.
Sometimes I wonder if they have, I think because they're wild, they're even stronger than the ones that you
than the domesticated
ones. So we have shooters who go out and shoot at certain times when everybody is asleep. The feral unit, they go out and they shoot the pigs. But in terms of getting farmers being given those kind of authority, no, that is left to the feral unit. You call them and they would canvass the area and destroy the animals. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. These dogs, when you license them, when they are licensed, how frequent are they supposed to be licensed after that?
Every year.
Every year?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
That's good. And do you see these people coming back every year to do it?
Well, I'm often out in the field.
Okay.
So I would have to go and look to see the records, but I am not in that part. That's the veterinary section duty.
Okay.
So I'm not aware or too certain of how frequent and if we have people who would come every every time it's time to renew.
To renew the license.
Yeah, and that.
And there's a penalty for the owner if he does not license or
There's a
relicense.
There's a penalty for everything, but I think that is where a lot of, I mean, that's where we fall back a lot. A lot of penalties are not imposed on persons, so there is no, they don't feel that there's a need to do it because we're not held accountable.
You're not holding them accountable
so,
for not licensing.
So I guess there are things that the department themselves we need to work on in terms of education of the Dog License Act and education of care of dogs and what's dog ownership
on a whole, yes.
So I think maybe we need to start doing that in terms of educating persons, owners as to the process of dog licensing. The general public, what is required to own a dog, and you don't like it when it's small, and then when you grow up you don't want it, or like the caller said, you can't feed it anymore, so
so you dump it over the
so
fence.
you dump it somewhere. So I think that it has a lot to do with education, and maybe that's something I can encourage at the department. Where I've tried, and I know we've kind of fallen back on it, but it's something I have to start doing again, because like I said, it's affecting my goal.
Yes,
with
meat
production.
production.
Meat production. So
yes,
and another effort will be made to restart that program.
That program.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. 2 minutes. 2 callers. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh, okay. Right. Quickly, we talk about dangerous dogs because you see that came out in the licensing. What are some of the dogs that are considered dangerous?
We have a list of them. Most of them we don't see them here. We have the American Terrier, we have the Stafford, which we call them pit bull here. There's the Falera Brasilio, the Argentino. Those are dogs we don't see, but we have that list. But any dog can be a dangerous dog.
Yes.
Depends on its environment and its owner.
And its owner.
Because I have met dogs that are the breeds, the pit bull mixed with
something
mastiff,
else,
and they're running from you, but they're running from you. But then you have dump and what we could term petition terriers that behave worse than those. So it all depends on the environment and the owner.
And
so any dog can be a dangerous dog, but usually any dog that attacks, its action, it would have to have bitten you or created some fear to be considered a dangerous dog. But Chihuahuas have been, I've seen Chihuahuas attack livestock. So any dog can be a dangerous dog, but of course we have a definition for that, and that is any dog that in its action creates some fear or harms another human being or animal, livestock. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're dangerous dogs, and they're also dangerous dogs. But dogs, it depends on what the dog was bred for. We know German Shepherds, they were bred to guard.
Yes.
They're different dogs in domesticating
different purposes,
them.
right.
They breed them for different purposes. Pit bull, we know they protect their owners, but over the years we've had some training of we go into a different level.
They take it out of that scope and train them differently.
Any dog can be a dangerous dog.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted to mention I did say I was going to mention it, so I would mention it now. The area where I work, it's District B West, and we would have had 32 attacks in the past 4 years. So from 2020, from 2020 to 2023 now, this current period, and 13 persons were chased by dogs, and 2 of them were bitten. We had livestock, 16 attacks on livestock, We had
way
one.
more than that.
I know.
Over the phone.
I know. We had one owner would have said that he sees somebody putting 2 dogs to fight his dog in his yard. And then we also have damage to vehicles. We had dogs chasing other dogs and I can't get them, run under a vehicle, and they would have damaged the vehicle.
Okay.
Right, bite up the bumper and all those things, yes. But thank you very much again, Ms. Huggins, for so graciously accepting to be my guest this morning on Policing with You. I know that we have to go, but before I go, I want to say thank you to those persons who have called in. Without you, our show would not have been what it was this morning. And for those who didn't have the chance to call in, sometime next week, there's another show and you can tune in then and make your contribution. We will have a subsequent follow-up with this Ministry of Agriculture, where we would try to get a veterinary to come in and another person that deals with costing and stuff of damaged crops. Yes, we'll do that. But I want to leave with us that dogs, it is all of us responsibility. It's not just on one set of people, because the dog owners have a responsibility. The enforcers have a responsibility. The licensing for these dogs have a responsibility, and it's a collective effort, and we should strive to make sure that all of us do our part in curbing the incidences of dog attacks on livestock and on persons, and also to keep the dog population in check. Before I go, I want to leave with you. Today is the 1st of the month. For those persons who have vehicles ending in number 5, please get those stickers on, because when the police stop you, please, we don't want you to get on bad with the police. The police is just correcting the wrong that you would have done. So bear with us as we continue to keep our roads safe. Thank you.
What you know about love? Why all the segregation? We all are but one nation. Oh, let us unite as one. Let us unite as one. Oh, love, so many can testify.
Do you know that the Cable has a real live customer service representative available every day until 9 p.m.? Just call 465-2588. Calling out of normal office hours? Leave a voicemail and a friendly, reliable Cable rep will call you back. Do you have an urgent request? Or maybe you just want to ask a service question? Call 465-2588 and a service representative will be available to assist you. Or, if you prefer, send an email to customerservice@thecable.biz and someone will get back to you. So remember, the Cable is here for you every day until 9 p.m. Just call 465-2588 or send an email. The Cable, always giving you more where it matters.